Jack left hell and walked into the darkness, doomed to roam the earth forever, without a final resting place, with only his lit turnip to light the way in the darkness. Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new spooky video. Once again, I did not plan on doing this video, but since it's almost Halloween and it will be Halloween when I'll upload this video, I thought it was fun to talk about the spookiest time of the year. I was sick last week, so my voice is still a little bit sore, so if I sound a little bit different or tired or something, I apologize and I will do my best to sound normal and to be happy and joyful because it's a joyous time of year. And I also bought a new microphone, so I hope the audio is better than it used to be. This is a warning if you are afraid of ghosts, spiders, witches, cauldrons, pumpkins, I don't know. Maybe it's a better idea to skip this video and come back another time. Because we are gonna talk about Halloween, how it started, where it began, what the traditions are, and of course some legends and spooky stories. Here in the Netherlands, where I come from, Halloween hasn't been a big thing yet. We have St. Maarten, which is, I believe, on the 11th of November. And then you can go trick-or-treating at the doors and you could sing for the people and dress up. And I have to say that I never did it because it's not a thing in south of Holland, which is one of the provinces in the Netherlands. But Halloween has become a bigger part of our culture as well. Nowadays people are trick-or-treating, I mean the children of course, and there are Halloween celebrations, you can find way more stuff in the stores. So I think if you give it another 10 years, it's probably as big as it is in America. But when I was little, I hardly knew about Halloween. I only knew it from the movies and the American and English stories. But there weren't Halloween activities, only there was one place where you could go to, which was called the Heksenketel, which means the witch cauldron. And there you could see spiders and witches, and it was all spooky, and you had a haunted mansion, but that's all I can think of. Anyway, let's get spooky. If we want to understand what Halloween is, we have to go back to the beginning. There are still some mysteries when it comes to the origins of Halloween, but we do know that it's linked to an ancient, spiritual Celtic tradition called Samhain. It is a Gaelic word which means summer's end in modern Irish. And the Celts lived during the Iron Age across Ireland, Scotland, the UK and some other parts of Northern Europe. Samhain is mostly linked to Ireland, but I do know that it's also a big part of Scottish culture because I've been there around Halloween and it is still celebrated there, traditional and of course in the new way. And Samhain, as I mentioned before, marked the end of the summer, but it was also the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. This transition was also the start of a new Celtic year. So it was their New Year's Eve and New Year's Day celebration as well. The New Year's Eve would be on October the 31st because in Celtic times the day would begin and end at sunset. And no, I did not make a mistake. Their New Year was not on December the 31st. They just had another calendar, like so many cultures and religions have nowadays as well. Before you don't understand the thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna explain to you how the Celtic calendar works. The medieval Celtic calendar was divided in two halves. You had the first half, which was the light half, and the second half was the dark half. It included 4 quarter days, which were dates in each year on which servants were hired, school terms started and rents were due. And the quarter days fell on religious festivals and they happened once in the 3 months. 2 of the festivals would take place in the first half of the year, which was the light year as I said before, and the other 2 festivities would take place in the second half, which was the dark half of the year. And Samhain, as I mentioned before, was the first celebration that would be celebrated in the dark part of the year because it would mark the end of summer and the beginning of winter. Samhain also had traditional colors, and I think you can guess them before I even mention them. The colors were black and orange. And nowadays they are still associated with Halloween. Black, of course, represented the death, and orange represented the autumn harvest season. Not only was Samhain celebrated because it marked the beginning of the wintertime and the end of the summertime and harvest season, it was also celebrated because there were some magical elements. They believed it was a very magical night, which has everything to do with it. And why it is linked to each other, the magical part and the part where it turns from summer to winter, is because Samhain is a transitional time. As I said before, it does not belong to summer or winter, and it is a time between light and darkness because of the light half of the year and the dark half of the year. Are you still following me? I hope so. And this made the Celts believe that the veil that separates the other world from the human world would be at its thinnest, so that the spirits from the other world could return to Earth for a limited time. And not only kind spirits, but also evil ones. The Celts did not want the evil spirits to possess them or hunt them, so they did many things to scare them away or to please them. This included sacrifices in big bonfires like animals or crops. They would also wear masks of animals or beasts in the hope that they could fool the spirits and scare them away. Druids and Celtic priests would make predictions about the future because they thought that since it was a magical night, the predictions would be more reliable. This could be predictions about someone's life or if the crops would grow the next year. They would also dance around stone circles as a tribute to the spirits, especially before sunrise, so that they could return to the other world. I think Samhain, and I really hope that I pronounce it right, sorry Irish people, is a very magical and very scary time, but also very intriguing. And Samhain would eventually turn into Halloween. So sorry Americans, but Halloween is not from America, it is actually from Ireland. And the reason why it's not called Samhain anymore is because of Christian interference. The word Halloween is similar to the term All Hallows Eve. It means the evening before All Hallows Day. It was originally a day to honor Christian martyrs and saints and was first called All Saints' Day. First they celebrated it on May the 13th, but they moved it to November the 1st because of strategical reasons. They wanted their homage to the martyrs and saints to parallel the appeasement of ghosts of the dead during Samhain. It was all tactical because the Christians wanted to use Samhain to make their own religion more appealing towards the Celts in the hope that they might join the church as well. Not every Christian believed in the ghosts that would return during the night of October the 31st, but they used all the traditions to make their own festivities more appealing, so they included the costumes, the pranks and also the offerings. And as you might know, it worked because Halloween is one of the biggest celebrations we have in the year. When September ends, everybody is always already excited for Halloween. It's not celebrated as something religious anymore, at least most of the time. We still celebrate the inevitability of death and rebirth, just like the Celts did. So now that you know the origins of Halloween, I want to spend more time on the traditions. I already mentioned a few traditions, but every festivity involves, and so does Halloween. For example, we associate the pumpkin with Halloween. But before there were pumpkins, there were turnips and potatoes with carved-in faces. Do you know the reason behind the carved-in faces during Halloween? It's all because of an Irish folktale about a man called Stingy Jack. Jack was an old miserable drunk who loved to play tricks on everyone. At one particular Halloween night, Jack decided to visit a local public house. When he walked inside, he could not believe his eyes. He saw the devil himself sitting there. And Jack, always the prankster, saw an opportunity. He invited the devil to have a drink with him. But of course Jack was stingy and he did not want to pay for his drink. So Jack convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin so that Jack could buy their drinks. The devil turned himself into a sixpence to pay the bartender, but Jack was fast. He snatched the coin away and deposited it in his pocket. He immediately placed a silver cross next to the coin so that the devil could not change back into his original form. The devil was furious and he demanded that Jack would turn him back, but Jack refused. Eventually Jack came with a solution. He promised to turn the devil back, but only if the devil promised that he would not claim his soul for the next 10 years. The devil had no choice but to agree, and he kept his word. 10 years had passed and the devil never forgot the trick that Jack played on him. He saw Jack walking on a country road and he saw his chance. But of course Jack was also aware that the 10 years had passed, so he decided to trick him once again. He told the devil, "I come with you, but before I'll do, please give me an apple from that tree," pointing towards the tree that was standing on the side of the road. The devil agreed, but did not realize that he was tricked once again. He climbed the tree, and when he reached the highest point, Jack carved in a cross on the tree. The devil could not escape once again. He was trapped and had to make a deal with Jack. Jack made the devil promise that he would not take his soul when he died. The devil was furious, but he knew that he could not deny his request. He agreed and was released from the tree. Eventually the day came that Jack died. He made the devil promise that he would not take his soul, so he arrived at the gates of the heaven. He was relieved and he thought he would be welcomed with open arms, but nothing was further away from the truth. He was refused at the gates because he had been a bad human. He drank too much, was deceitful and tight-fisted. There was no way that he would be welcomed inside. So Jack had no choice but to go down to the depths of hell, in the hope that he would gain entrance there. The devil was waiting for him and he left. He said to Jack that he never broken a promise and he wasn't planning on doing it now. Jack looked at him with confused eyes. "But where can I go?" did he ask. "Back to where you came from," was the answer of the devil. "But if I go back, it's dark and windy out there and I couldn't see a thing." Jack was desperate. "Is there no way you could help me? Can't you give me a light to guide the way?" The devil was reluctant, but he was also tired of Jack's games. He knew that if he didn't help him, he would find other ways to deceive him. "Very well," replied the devil. "I shall give you an ember as a final gesture." The ember was too hot to hold in his hands, so he placed the ember in a hollowed out turnip. Jack always carried one with him, if he was able to steal one. Jack left hell and walked into the darkness, doomed to roam the earth forever, without a final resting place, with only his lit turnip to light the way in the darkness. Jack would be known in the Irish folklore as a ghostly figure called Jack of the Lantern, or simplified as Jack-o'-lantern. Some people truly believed that he existed and made their own lanterns with scary carved-in faces. They would place it into their windows or around doors in the hope that they would scare away some evil spirits, or of course Stingy Jack. When the Irish people immigrated to America, they took their traditions with them, including Halloween and the carved-in faces. Eventually they swapped the potatoes and turnips for the Native American pumpkins. From then on they mainly used pumpkins as a jack-o'-lantern, and the rest is history. Another famous tradition during Halloween is trick-or-treating. Many people debate about the origins of trick-or-treating. Generally, there are 3 theories. The first one said it started with Samhain, and as I mentioned before, they always offered food and crops during Samhain in the bonfires, and they did it to appease the ghosts that would travel to the world during the night. And they also liked to play pranks during Samhain, so some people decided to dress up like a ghost and ask for the food themselves, pretending that they were the ghosts that would visit Earth. And this eventually evolved into trick-or-treating. Another theory has more to do with the Christian religion. In this theory, trick-or-treating started in Scotland during the Middle Ages. Children and poor adults would collect money and food from local houses. In return, they would pray for the dead on All Souls Day. Eventually, they stopped praying and started singing in the hope to appeal everyone instead of only the religious people. Sometimes they would even tell jokes or trick people. The third theory suggests that it does not even originate from Halloween, but from a Christmas tradition. There was a German-American Christmas tradition called bell snickling. Children would dress up in costumes and would knock at the door of their neighbors. They wanted to see if the neighbors could identify them when they were disguised. If the neighbors could not identify them, the children would be rewarded with food or with candy. Eventually this would evolve into the modern trick-or-treating. And one of the popular costumes that people like to dress up as is a black cat. People are extra superstitious when they see a black cat on Friday the 13th, and especially when they see one on Halloween. Well, I used to have a black cat and I had a very good life back then, so I don't believe it, of course. Black cats were considered to be a symbol of the devil during the Middle Ages. Centuries later, accused witches were often found to have cats, and especially black ones, which did not really help their case. This would even suggest that the cats were truly demonic figures. They thought that black cats were supernatural and that they would help the witches with the practice of dark magic. Of course, we do not believe that anymore, but the cats are still associated with witches, misfortune and Halloween. Of course, there are many more subjects that are connected to Halloween, but if I have to talk about everything, this video would be super long. So this is it for me today. I found out things about Halloween that I did not know before, and I really hope you did as well. The story of Stingy Jack was the most surprising for me because I never knew why there were pumpkins with carved in faces during Halloween. And this makes me appreciate the carved in faces on pumpkins even more. I really hope you enjoyed my video. I really loved making it and doing research. More videos are coming soon, but for now, I wish you all a very happy Halloween night and Halloween day. Make sure that your jack-o'-lanterns are in front of your door or in your window to keep Stingy Jack away. I wish you all a spooky night and, as the Celt would say, a happy new year. Bye.